Welcome to Inside Major League Pickleball, your stop for all things MLP. I'm Will Doughton, joined by the voice of pickleball, Dave Fleming. Dave, I'm going to skip the pleasantries today because it is crunch time, my friend. It is week 18 of the NFL season. It's the final week of the Major League Pickleball regular season, and we've got the Edward Jones MLP Miami by Margaritaville coming up this week. A lot to talk about.
A lot to talk about, as you mentioned. This is your chance to get in or just miss. So who's going to get that done in Miami? I can't wait to talk about it.
Dave, we're about to look at the standings, and I just want to ask, I'm about to cook. Is that okay with you?
Just don't volley the ball in the kitchen, brother. Take it away.
All right, so we'll get the standings graphic up there for you guys. Right now at the Premier level, we have 3 playoff spots that have already been taken. Those have been taken by St. Louis, Dallas, and New Jersey. St. Louis, they've already clinched a top 2 spot, meaning they get a first round bye straight to the semifinals. Now, the final 3 spots, if the season ended today, would be taken by DC, New York, and Texas. Now, DC and New York are the only teams that still have matches in Miami. Texas is done for the year. DC averaging that 1.76 figure points per match. New York at 1.67. If we assume that they continue with those averages, DC is going to end with 41 points and New York with 39 points if we're being a little generous. So that would make the magic number to make the playoffs at 38 points, which is where the Texas Rangers are at after already having completed their season. Now, there are 3 teams towards the bottom half of the standings that are currently looking to make that 38 mark. Only 3 teams that could hit 38 points. That's the Orlando Squeeze, the Arizona Drive, and the LA Mad Drops. Now, that can only be done with exceptional play from any one of these teams. That means winning 5 matches in regulation and maybe 1 match in a Dream Breaker. All right, now, Dave, I know we've got your team, the Carolina Pickleball Club. I don't want to forget about you guys. Somehow, you're still in the hunt. You're sitting there at 23 points right now. If you get 9 points in 3 matches, that brings you to 32. Then if in some way the New York Hustlers, DC Pickleball Team, Orlando, Arizona, all those teams just collapse at the end, you could somehow sneak your way into the playoffs. We can't forget about you guys.
So you're saying there's a chance?
There is a chance. It's the smallest of chances.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, and I didn't realize when I let you cook, it's like a 5-course meal over here. This kid is dropping stats, and I think that's what's going to be great about Miami. Yes, I know we're mathematically alive, but it is highly unlikely. But we're going to play the best we can and see what happens. But it is going to not just be math by the day. It's going to be math by the hour, keeping track of who wins matches and who doesn't. So all you fans out there, keep MajorLeaguePickleball.net up on your phone, on your computer, because that's the best way to track what's going on.
Now, Dave, if you thought the Premier level standings had a myriad of outcomes and insane mathematics, you haven't even seen the Challenger standings. Let's go over to Challenger standings. Obviously, you've got SoCal, Chicago, and Miami, that kind of group of 3. If I had to guess, barring a massive collapse from Miami or Chicago, it's probably going to be those 2 teams taking the top 2 spots. And that has huge implications. One, it gives them a bye straight to the semifinals in the playoffs, but it also guarantees a promotion to Premier for the 2025 season, a massive accomplishment. And we'll have SoCal, again, barring a collapse.
They want to roll those dice and get those hard 8s, so they're hoping, this is where scoreboard watching's coming in, because they're done. They've played their 23, 41 points is what they got. They're definitely making the playoffs, but that promotion is big, and the way that's going to work, everybody, is it's the 4 teams that make the semifinals of the playoffs get there. So it's not the 4 teams that finish in the top 4 spots here. So make sure you understand that difference. But they're going to be cheering like crazy against the teams playing against Miami and Chicago. So that's what is interesting about our last event here.
And, you know, SoCal with 41 points, Chicago there at 36, Miami at 35. Miami's got 5 matches left, Chicago with 4. I mean, they're going to have to play far below their level to not hit that 41 mark. But hey, SoCal, you know, you can always hope, right? And at the very end of at the very least, they're already in the playoffs. Nothing wrong with hoping for a little something extra.
No, and they had, and this is the way this works, we had injuries in Las Vegas, Arina Tereshchenko couldn't go for them. She just wins at MLP, so that definitely affected them. Of course, they'd like to have a little more cushion than what we've talked about here, but it's going to be fun to watch.
Well, speaking of Las Vegas, we've got the Night Owls. They go 3-0 last week, defend their home court. A really nice ending to their regular season after they struggled a little bit in Virginia Beach.
A lot.
Thank you for keeping me honest, Dave. And we've got 35 points for Las Vegas. And so I think that 35 or 36 mark is going to be the magic number for these challenger teams to make the playoffs. I mean, so many of them are still in contention, but I think below Las Vegas right now, you've got the Atlanta Bouncers, Brooklyn Aces, Florida Smash, and Frisco Pandas. I think those teams are really the biggest contenders to make a playoff push. You've got Bay Area in there at 5, but they finished with 32 points. I do not expect that to be enough to make the playoffs. And a lot of these teams, look, Atlanta, they made some changes to their women's doubles. They've got Susanna Barr and Emily Cedarquist now. A lot to like there. I love their mixed doubles pairings as well. Brooklyn Aces, we'll talk about this too, but Andrea Coop and Pablo Tellez on the same squad. But the Florida Smash, that's the team I'm the most excited to watch in Miami because I think they've just been different. They've had a different sort of swagger since adding Donald Young and Krista Getcheva, especially in singles in those Dream Breakers. I think they make a run, and I think they sneak into the playoffs, whether ousting Brooklyn or Las Vegas. I know, might seem crazy, but I think Travis the Rattlesnake Rettenmeyer's got something up his sleeve.
Well, you called out the Chicago Slice, and you said they're going to make the playoffs. That's absolutely happening, so let's see if you go 2 for 2. But I think we talk about every point matters, Will, and we talk about the margins. Listen to these points percentage won by the top 6 teams in Challenger. 50.5%, 50.38%, 50.56%, 50.45%, 50.25%, and 50.82%. So we're talking one ball off the tape, a ball that just catches the line, and that's the difference between making the playoffs and sitting out. It's that close for all these teams. And the Night Owls and the Hard Eights who have to just watch this unfold. It's like a golfer that shot a good round but was several behind and then just has to sort of hope somebody throws it into the drink on the 18. Same thing's going to happen here. On Sunday, there's going to be all these teams huddled around their computers, their TVs, etc., hoping for certain outcomes. And some of these outcomes, which is going to be interesting to watch, is I need this to actually become a dream breaker so that team is allowed to get 2, just not 3, so that the other team can only get 1. It's going to be fun.
And all those loyalties are going to change, right? You're rooting for one team in one match, but then you want them to get swept in 2 hours later when they play their next match. And Dave, we're rounding out to the hundredths of a decimal of a decimal place. I feel like I'm back in elementary school, going back to the decimal systems. Now let's look at the marquee matchups going into Miami, starting off with the Premier level, Dave.
Yeah, we're going to be the first match on, and are we going to be the ones that spoil the dreams of others? We could be. Orlando made the change, got Megan Dazan in there. They are a very good team. Could we ruin their start in their home state? Maybe so. That's going to be fun, and that's going to sort of set the tone for them. We only play 3 times. The Squeeze have many more matches than that to rise up the standings. This will be a good barometer for them of where they're at.
And then for Challenger, we've got the Florida Smash taking on the Chicago Slice. Last time they played in Virginia Beach, Florida takes it in a dream breaker. Got a little chippy between Travis Rettenmeyer and Brendan Long in that one. So excited to see them run this one back. Maybe more than just points on the line in this match on Thursday. Let's move over to Friday. DC taking on New York, Dave.
Which New York team showing up, Will? Is it the team that's looked terrific in parts of the year? Is it the team that has not looked good at all? They are just barely holding on to a playoff spot right now. Everyone, Arizona, Orlando, etc., gunning for them. On the other side, you have DC, who thinks they're a team that can win this whole thing. They're going to have to do it not from one of the top 2 spots, but they've got the power forwards in Big Papa Jimmy and Deckel Barr, obviously Rachel Rohrabacher and Viv Glosman. That's a very good team.
And then Challenger, we've got Miami taking on Brooklyn. Miami been so solid since adding Noe Cliff and Bobby Oshiro. They've, top team in Challenger, top 2 team right now. Brooklyn, though, adding Andrea Koop at the trade deadline. Her and Pablo Te is going to make a super strong mixed doubles team. Excited to see how they're able to mesh together and if Brooklyn can make a push for that final playoff spot as well. Let's go to the weekend. Saturday, Orlando taking on Arizona.
So these are the two hopefuls that it is bad hustlers because then they can go get them. Arizona Drive looked very good in Vegas. Jesse Irvin jumped in there and played very well for them. And the squeeze, we'll see how Thursday and Friday rolling in is same for the Drive. And their dudes started playing better together. Andre Diescu, Dylan Frazier looked very good in Las Vegas. So they're a team that maybe some of the top teams don't even want to get in there because when you have two guys that can actually play very high-level mix too, they're a dangerous squad. Speaking
of mixed doubles, we've got the Atlanta Bouncers taking on the Florida Smash. The mixed doubles pairing, Jaume Martinez-Vick, Susanna Barr, and Todd Foden, Emily Cedarquist for Atlanta. They had a great run in Virginia Beach. I know Florida is my kind of dark horse for Miami, but Atlanta, a team I'm very high on as well going into the end of the season. So excited to see how this one plays out. Then our final day, our swan song, the final day of the regular season of 2024 Major League Pickleball. Two more incredible matches. Tell us about the first one.
Yeah, everyone is going to be watching the standings like crazy to see how this works out. And this is a rematch of the mid-season tournament final. Now, the fives look like, as we talked about earlier, they're going to be able to secure one of the top two spots by just playing 500 ball. Just win 3 or 4 matches and they're going to be good. This is sending a message opportunity for DC. We didn't like the way that ended. We think we're a top 2 team and we're going to prove it to you so that the following week, because that's all the time in between here in Dallas, if we play you, you're going to have a loss to remember. That's what's going to be on DC's mind here.
In the final match for Miami and Frisco on Sunday. Look, Miami, spent enough time talking about them. Let's talk about Frisco.
Yeah.
Frisco, they have an outside chance. It's somehow making the playoffs. If they win all 4 of their matches in regulation, they will tie Las Vegas at 35 points. They just added Michael Lloyd at the 3rd waiver period for Johnson Cola. Michael Lloyd had a great run in singles in Las Vegas. Excited to see how he plays with Eva Rezhikovska and Tammy Emmerich as well. So they could make some noise. You never know what Frisco's going to do, but they've really got to bring it this week in Miami. Dave, we just talked about all of these incredible matchups, but what does it mean? What are the stakes? What are these teams playing for? Well, they're playing for the playoffs, first round in Dallas. Tell us about it.
Yeah, there's some interesting dynamics here. It's not just 3 plays 6 and 4 plays 5 as far as the seeds are concerned. The team that finishes 3rd in both Challenger and Premier can pick between the 5 and the 6. So they're basically going to say, you know what, 5th seed, I don't think you're that good, especially not against us. We choose you. Wow. And the other advantage, and this is not a small one, is the higher seeded team gets to pick everything. So no coin toss for those first 2, and they're going to get to go, we get to react to mix, we get side, we're going to receive. So all of that. So the weight of what you did in the regular season really carries over. The other fun part of this isn't just a 1-match winner take all and you move on. We're playing best 2 out of 3, baby. That's right. The teams are going to play each other, the 4 doubles and a singles. Someone's winning the first one. Then we're going to go again, and if the other team wins the second one, we are going to break that tie with a 3rd one. So we've got some if necessary on the calendar. That's what that means. We've never had this in Major League Pickleball before. It's going to be so much fun.
We've never had it in pickleball before, but now can you imagine a Game 3 Dream Breaker for Challenger? I mean, can you imagine just the stakes to winner gets promoted to Premier? I mean, I
want it, Will.
We want it.
Yes.
Come on.
Let's get it.
But before we can have it, we got to figure out who is even going to be able to play in these quarterfinals. So where can we find that out? That's going to be this week in Miami. Pickleball TV, Tennis Channel, YouTube, all the usual spots, Dave.
Absolutely. So tune in. You're going to have your computer or your phone ready, and maybe an abacus, a calculator, whatever you need to keep track of these fractions of a point we've talked about. It's going to be so much fun to watch the standings change by the hour. I can't wait.
That's where you can catch all the action in the 305 this weekend. Thanks so much for joining us for this edition of Inside MLP. For Dave Fleming, I'm Will Doughton, and we'll see you on the courts.
Peace.